First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Everyone, welcome to Fox 12 Now. I just always love taking some of our cameras here that we have, just showing some different images. This is the Shriners Camp showing downtown Portland. A little bit of a juxtaposition there. That looks a little bit menacing in the front and really nice in the back. So we'll see where that goes with the weather. But thanks for joining us again. We are live streaming here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. Pacific. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on our website and our app. So lots of places to find that. And I like to remind you of that just so you know there's plenty of places to go for the segments that we get to have. And we do talk about a broad range of things. Today, we're talking about an organization that's been here for quite a while in the Portland area and has spread far beyond. I'm talking about the Friends of Trees program and what they do to help restore natural landscapes, to bring trees to people. I mean, really, there's a lot to cover, and that's why we have the executive director joining us right now, Yashar Vasef, who thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you joining us today and excited to talk about this organization.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg.
So I think to start off, for a little bit of education for everybody, could you tell us about Friends of Trees and how long you've been around?
Definitely. Friends of Trees is a nonprofit organization in our 35th year of operation. We were founded in 1989 here in Portland, and our mission is to plant trees to address gaps in our urban forests with community volunteers. We really believe in community building and building out stewardship of those trees by engaging community members to join us and plant those trees together.
So when you're referencing gaps in the urban landscape like that, can you give some examples of what you mean by that?
Yeah, the 2021 Heat Dome event that I think most of us will remember is a great example of this. If you look at where we saw, the worst humanitarian outcomes, we lost, I believe, roughly 70 people to that Heat Dome event in Multnomah County. Dr. Vivek Chandis at Portland State University found an association between areas where folks tragically died during the heat dome and where we had the least amount of trees. And that is in part due to the shade that those trees would provide that could then cool those neighborhoods. And unfortunately, we still have a lot of work to do here in Portland and surrounding counties to kind of address those gaps where we see them.
And that's certainly something that, as you mentioned, that heat dome was a great example of that, an unfortunate example, but it did highlight some of those issues where you have these, in case people aren't familiar, there's certain areas of the cities where, where you don't have enough coverage or there's not enough landscape out there, not enough natural landscape, and you have a whole bunch of pavement and it heats up a lot more. And so this can be a real issue. As you were talking about. So looking at it from the Friends of Trees program, so talking about this specific issue, what are some of the things that Friends of Trees does to try to help mitigate some of those issues associated with like a heat dome or even those landscapes where there really isn't much tree coverage?
Yeah, so we work with our city partners. We operate between Lane County and Clark County. So essentially from Eugene up to Vancouver, Washington, we have a number of programs, and we work with those city partners to meaningfully address those gaps in our urban forest. And also we have other programming that take us more to natural areas where we're doing natural area restoration. That's our green space program. And, our big premise is simple. It's to empower community members to learn, educate them on how to best plant a tree, how to take care of those trees or native shrubs. But also we believe by engaging community members, we're building out the stewardship of those trees by getting folks involved in the planting of the trees themselves. And, in the 35 years we've been operating, we've been so lucky to engage thousands and thousands of community members each year through our programs. And excitingly, our next planting season that will start in the fall, going to next spring of 2025, we'll see our millionth tree or shrub planted. So it's going to be a huge moment for the organization. We're super excited for it.
Wow, that's really huge. 1 million trees, 1 million plants planted. And looking at it, with these over the 35 years that you mentioned and talking about the history of this and how much you've engaged, what has the feedback been from the community over this time period and just where you're at right now?
I hear all the time from someone who says, when I was a kid, I planted this tree 20, 30 years ago, and some people even name their trees. There's a lot of sentimental value when folks come out and plant a tree. And I think that's the biggest one for me is when I hear these stories of someone seeing a tree grow up as they grew up. And I think, you know, trees, we know they have psychological benefits. There's a body of research on this. And I think by bringing more of these trees to neighborhoods, we're providing folks with that access to those benefits that they maybe previously lacked if they lived in a low canopy environment.
And you mentioned teaching everyone stewardship so that they can continue on with that mission and making sure that the plants, the trees, the shrubs, everything that's around them is taken care of. What are some ways that you educate people with that to help take care of that stewardship of that natural landscape?
Yeah, we have a number of ways we educate folks. Anyone can go to our website to start and sign up for our newsletter. And we have a blog on our website, friendsoftrees.org. But additionally, at our in-person events, we have crew leaders. These are volunteers who are trained, who have a bit more expertise around trees and shrubs, and they use these personal engagements at our events as educational touch points, which is really great. That's hands-on learning. We also have youth programming where we engage opportunity youth to learn more about tree planting, leading crews, how to prune trees. The ice storm we just had is a great reminder that we need to appropriately prune our trees to prevent the worst outcomes of things like an ice storm. And additionally, we have a workforce development program called Adult Urban Forestry, where we are training adults if they want to find a career path into the urban forestry sector. We provide them with some training and internships, 100-hour internships with city partners or businesses around the area, and hopefully that would launch them into a career path in urban forestry.
Well, that's a lot of different ways to engage then and to really get involved and learn. And let's talk about just briefly here, just about the organization. You mentioned it's a nonprofit. Can you tell us how that works and how funding and outreach works on that end of the organization?
Yeah, for folks who are unfamiliar with nonprofits, essentially we provide community benefits and we rely on our funders, whether that's individuals like anyone watching right now, providing individual donations, or business support, like a Blazers, for example, have been a great partner. Every time the Blazers make a three-pointer, we get 3 trees donated, and that's super exciting through the Threes for Trees program. But also, much of our funding comes from government partners, including the U.S. Forest Service. Excitingly, we got a $12 million coalition grant that we're leading through the U.S. Forest Service recently. And also, the city by city, we work with them individually, work with them to understand where they need trees and provide that community benefit by also bringing out community members to be active civic stakeholders within that process.
Trees for Threes is that's a great name. That's some good marketing right there.
Yeah.
And obviously for a great cause too, donating trees. So let's talk about it for somebody individually. Say, they're at their house or their neighborhood. What is a good way for them to evaluate whether they need trees for their neighborhood or what specific kinds of trees they should go for?
Well, you're talking to Friends for Trees, so I would say there's never enough trees. I think, we have seen, specific to Portland, for example, Portland Urban Forestry has presented to City Council recently to show we are losing canopies. So right now, we need to really scale up and make sure we're planting enough trees to protect the generations of tomorrow. But anyone could go to our website, friendsoftrees.org. There's a section at the top that says get a tree. You basically plug in your address and you can see whether or not you're eligible for a free or reduced rate tree through our funders. And hopefully we can continue to expand those programs.
That's great. Going back to that, something you just mentioned there. So when we talk about these heat islands where there's just really not enough natural landscape or canopy cover, things get really hot there. Have you been working with the city of Portland or Multnomah County to try to address some of those issues?
Absolutely. Multnomah County is a partner. They're particularly helping us with some of our work in Gresham. I know we've been looking at the Rockwood neighborhood in Gresham, which was a major heat island zone that lacks enough trees. But additionally, the city of Portland, I regularly engage with Portland Urban Forestry, Bureau of Environmental Services, other folks in the tree world there, as well as the Portland Clean Energy Fund, which excitingly, Council recently passed a $40 million emergency tree planting program to support the Portland Clean Energy Fund, and we're hoping to apply for that and be an active participant within that.
And another thing, too, I just wanted to highlight is that this program has expanded beyond Portland. You mentioned it was in 1989, but it's also being utilized in some other places. Can you talk about how this has been successful and used as a model for other places?
Absolutely. We also, a lot of folks don't know, we actually have an office in Eugene, Oregon as well, a team down there. So we are in the Eugene metro. We work in Salem, the Salem metro area, and the Portland metro area, as well as Vancouver, Washington. In a given year, we might be working around, partnering with around 15 or so cities. And so, whether you live in Lane County or on up, there's 6 counties we operate in. And I encourage folks to go to friendsofTrees.org and see if you might be eligible for a tree.
That's great. So that is a lot of things, and I do have this too.
Can you imagine life without trees?
Some of your videos demonstrating, some of the work that you do and just showcasing how important it is to have trees out there, which is obviously the mission of your organization.
Absolutely. And, this video is showing, climate change is here. It's no longer at the doorstep. It is here. The heat dome was a visceral example of that. And we know trees have amazing stormwater benefit. They capture rain, protect the stormwater, and help prevent flooding and other more extreme outcomes. But they also, have a massive public health benefit. So aside from taking climate action when we're planting trees as community, there was recent research conducted by the U.S. Forest Service using Friends of Trees tree planting data to show that the trees we planted in Portland through our partnership with the city, the contract we had with the Bureau of Environmental Services, was saving, there was an association between those trees planted and saving roughly 15 lives per year, also reductions in cardiovascular events. And so there's astounding public health benefit of trees. We know the psychological benefits of trees. We know they cool neighborhoods. They could actually reduce energy costs if you place them in the right place by your home. It's an endless list of benefits that these trees provide. And with the changing climate, I will also say it's caused us to re-examine, just like the city of Portland and other partners, the types of trees we're planting to make sure that they're set up for success and for survival in this new normal of ours, which is some extreme dry summers and with some heat events. So things are constantly evolving. What hasn't changed is that mission to engage community to address these issues together.
And this is all things that people can find out at the website. And I just want to make sure that people know that the best avenues, I guess, to find out about either getting a tree in their neighborhood or volunteering or whatever those aspects may be. What's the best way for them to find out that information?
Yeah, to volunteer, to find out if you're eligible for a tree through one of our programs, to donate, you can go to friendsoftrees.org and you'll find all sorts of information there, including a blog where we periodically provide best tips and best practices for things like pruning your tree.
Yeah, definitely very important. I need advice on that, so I will be going there to check that out. I think final question here, do you have a favorite kind of tree that you plant?
I have become partial to the Oregon white oak just because I've learned how crucial they are for Oregon. We need to make sure we're maintaining our white oaks. They can actually support up to 200 or so species of wildlife. They are so beautiful when they're fully mature. There are some great examples around town, and just through our planting events, I've learned about those. And I'm actually also originally from Iran, and I just spoke to the changing climate. We're actually planting Persian ironwoods, which are present in Tehran, my place of birth. We're planting those now in Eugene and with other municipal partners because of that changing climate. It's kind of wild to see that come full circle. They kind of followed me sort of out here to Oregon, and we're hoping those can thrive and provide benefits as well.
That's great. Is that a tree that somebody can request?
Yeah, it depends on the city we're partnering with, but we've definitely planted some of those in Portland and Eugene and some other places. Just reach out to us at friendsofTrees.org and we'll let you know whether those are permissible.
Well, Yashar, thank you very much, for joining us to talk about this and the organization and what you're all doing, and really, really appreciate your time. Anything else that you want to let people know about?
Well, Greg, I appreciate the opportunity, and I just want to let folks know, in light of the ice storm, that trees still provide a massive benefit. It was really unfortunate to see some of the worst outcomes of the ice storm, but we have millions of trees that did not fall, and we encourage folks to reach out to cities, reach out to us to learn more about how to best prevent those outcomes by taking preventative measures.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here today. Appreciate your time and joining us. And yeah, thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right. So again, we get to learn about different organizations here on Fox 12 Now. So this is part of one of the fun things that we get to do, finding out about important things. And as Yashar mentioned too, the heat islands, if you have not looked into that, it is a real thing and it is a real concern. And this is one way to help mitigate some of those issues by planting more trees. So definitely some great information on there. And thanks for joining us again. We are live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook and our website and our apps. You're going to see the YouTube and Facebook video end. I'll be back around 1:30 p.m. and I'm going to be switching gears a little bit. We're going to be talking about a local company called Solar Corp. They also have a company called Oros. And what this company does is they have taken the material, the insulation that's in, say, the Mars rovers, so NASA equipment, and they've been able to convert that into something that's a stretchable material that can be used in clothing, in shoes, and much more even beyond that. So I went and visited them at an actual show they were at. So I'll recap this here a little bit more, but we'll have that interview coming up at about 1:30. So you'll want to join us right back here. If you're watching on the app and the website, though, I've got more stuff over there, so you can hop over there for right now in the meantime, and I've got some more things that we're going to be discussing. So I'll talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.